back to Distractaholics. I'm Morgan.
And I'm Tyler.
And thanks for joining us for our second episode. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing the movie Stardust, which was released in 2007. You can currently stream it on Netflix, and I would stop now if you haven't seen it because we will be discussing some possible spoilers.
Morgan, hit me with the summary.
All right, brace yourself. In a countryside town bordering on a magical land, a young man makes a promise to his beloved that he'll retrieve a falling star by venturing into the magical realm. And this plot summary was found on IMDb, which we will probably get a lot of our information from. So some notable characters that we have in Stardust are, to start with, Sir Ian McKellen, Tristan, who's played by Charlie Cox, Victoria, played by Sienna Miller, Humphrey, who you will probably recognize as Geralt from The Witcher or Superman, also known as Henry Cavill, Captain Shakespeare, played by Robert De Niro, Claire Danes portrays our fallen star Yvain, the forever sexy Michelle Pfeiffer as Lamia, Ricky Gervais as Ferdy, and Una, who is played by Kate McGowan. Tyler, who is your favorite character out of all the characters in the movie Stardust?
Captain Shakespeare. Let me tell you why. Not only is Robert De Niro just fantastic, but Captain Shakespeare had this mask on of this really tough pirate persona, and we come to find out that that's not exactly who he is. And even when the rest of his crew find out what he really is and how he really acts, they still love and accept him anyways, and I thought that was awesome, Morgan. We need more of that in the world.
I can agree with that. I did love Shakespeare. He is also listed as one of my favorite characters. But I really love Yvain and Lamia.
Why?
So I love Yvain because she is so sarcastic and sassy. And I like Lamia as well because she is a witch. And Michelle Pfeiffer does an amazing job portraying someone who is completely self-absorbed and in an unapologetic way. And I can respect that. She knows what she wants, and she takes it. Tyler, I know it's going to be really hard to guess who your least favorite characters are, but throw them at me.
Victoria.
Why? She's so nice.
Morgan.
She's Tristan's true love.
Where to even start with this? So Victoria, from the start, it's clear she doesn't have the same feelings for Tristan that he has for her, and she takes advantage of it, uses him, makes him lose his job, and then sends him on this quest for the fallen star. So I just don't really like her character, but I'm glad he realized who his true love really was before he tried to marry her and start a life with her.
When she made him lose his job, I was so irate. The first time I watched that, I was like, what an idiot. How is he wanting to be with this girl who's so pretentious she can't carry her own groceries home? So I also dislike Victoria, but I don't like Humphrey either because I feel like he's putting on this facade as well. I think he genuinely thinks he's better than everyone else, but I also don't think he is completely himself.
That's fair enough.
This is a book by Neil Gaiman. I have not read the book. When I originally watched this movie, probably back in 2007, I didn't know it was a book. Usually I'm the type of person who wants to read the book before watching the movie. But I'm really scared to read the book now that I have seen the movie, and because I do love the movie so much. I think I gave this movie on our dreaded rating numerical scale a 9.5.
Oh, jeez.
Because I love it so much. I know this was your first watch, Tyler, so what do you rate it on your first watch?
Okay, so it was my first watch. I had never heard of this movie. I don't know how, because of all the stars that are in it, both literally and figuratively.
Insert laugh.
Morgan, I gave it a 6.5.
Boo.
I would rewatch it. I did like that they made some very serious concepts very upbeat and funny and kind of made fun of death and that kind of thing. I'm not really a fantasy person. We're going to come to find that as I review movies. Morgan's the exact opposite. So I would rewatch it, but 6.5, and I stand by it.
I'm disgusted. I'm going to jump right into the movie so we can get away from that. The movie starts off with a quote that I find extremely interesting, and I am a big movie quote person.
Aficionado.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I enjoy movie quotes. It starts off, are we humans because we gaze at the stars, or do we gaze at them because we are human? Do the stars gaze back? That is the question.
Morgan, I'm not 100% sure how to answer your question. I think that we as human beings have this natural fascination of the unknown. What's up in the stars is unknown to us, so I think we gaze up at the stars and kind of wonder what could be. Now, if the stars look back, that would imply that there is some kind of life outside of our world, and there very well could be, but I'll be a skeptic until someone gives me some kind of scientific evidence that there is indeed further life. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, there could be water here, and here's this Area 51 this, and I'm sorry, when I get physical evidence and I see it, maybe I'll believe it.
I feel like that's pretty self-centered to think that the Earth is the only place where life could be. I think that's pretty egocentric.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be the first to tell you your faults. I'll love you through them, though.
Okay, Morgan. I'm going to start off real early on in the movie with my first nitpick. There's this wall that surrounds this town and keeps the magic out and these people in, blah, 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 blah. And then there's this one spot that there's a hole that has to be guarded 24/7. Morgan, come on. Why didn't they just patch the hole? Build a fence around it, put in a gate. Why?
Because I think it probably took an obscene amount of magic to build this wall in the first place. So they just ran out and they can't complete it. So they have to have somebody stand watch.
They could dig a moat, put some alligators in it.
But then we wouldn't have the guard.
Are they worried that somebody's going to get out or that something is going to come in?
Well, I think the guard is specifically there to keep people from going into Stormhold. And because I say that because of the scene where they're fighting on the other side of the wall and he looks at Tristan and says, 80-some years I've been guarding this wall and protecting people from going over there when I should have been worried about them coming over here. So I don't think they actually knew what was on the side of the wall. And we know that if anyone from Stormhold side crosses the wall, they don't necessarily stay the way they are. For example, Yvain would have turned into an actual rock.
I was very frustrated with the immediate one true love motif and how Tristan was throwing himself at Victoria, who just clearly didn't want him. And I don't know, it's just so frustrating to me. You know, I know this is going to be a positive, upbeat movie, but it was just so frustrating to see in the movie.
You don't ever want to see a one-sided love story. If you look past the love story in this movie, there are a lot of hidden lessons, I feel like. And one of these lessons is when the dad, Dunstan, is talking to Tristan. Tristan's pretty upset because of the encounter that he just had with Victoria and Humphrey. And the dad tells him, people who get on well in life and are popular usually lead unremarkable lives. This is a really good lesson about how it's okay not to fit in. And I think that's something that was a very good way of sliding this little life pro tip into a fairy tale movie.
The scenes where they go into the ghosts and introduce the brothers as ghosts, Morgan, that's so cool. I don't know why, but I loved those scenes. They were so fun and lighthearted, and they were showing like, they would have like how they died in like the ghost scene. It was so cool. I don't know why I liked it so much.
It adds brightness to something a little morbid of being
dead.
Yeah, and having these brothers be in purgatory until the next king is crowned.
And I like how they, later on when they're in the inn, they play kind of like us. They say like, oh, she's got the stone. And as the other brother doesn't realize it. That was so awesome.
The prince's names. Listeners, I don't know if you caught it. I know Tyler did not catch
I did not.
Their names while watching the movie. Granted, this was his first time watching it, even though I think I caught it the first time. We'll give him a little bit of slack there. So the princes' names were Primus, Secundus, Tertius, Quartius, Quintus, Sextus, and Septimus, which I think is brilliant. Which prince's death is the best?
I freaking love Septimus's death. It is so cool. You know, I've never seen
It's so
anything
creepy.
quite like it. You know, they show he dies by voodoo doll and the drowning of voodoo doll specifically.
Yeah.
And in all these different shows, they show people, you know, poking voodoo dolls and breaking their legs and twisting them, blah, 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 all that boring stuff. You've seen it 100 times. I've never seen a drowning the voodoo doll. It was so original in a movie from 2007. Loved it.
And how they make him levitate.
Oh,
So
so
it
cool.
looks like he's actually floating. I really liked his as well.
I didn't see it coming either. I thought she was just going to do the standard, you know, break this, twist this,
Right.
smash the clay. No.
Right.
Let me drop it in this well and watch him drown. Wicked.
Slightly terrifying.
Morgan.
Yeah.
What's your favorite prince's death? You're going to say Septimus too? You're going to be a copycat?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. My second favorite scene. Tristan decides he's leaving the nest and he's going beyond the wall.
Spreading his wings.
And he tries to trick the guard in the same way that his dad tricked the guard when his dad left.
Like father, like son.
And I thought, this guy didn't learn a thing. And Tristan gets out. He actually gets beyond the wall. And then we see the guard ninja jump over the wall, backflip over the wall, and just start beating on Tristan to get him back on the wall. I loved it. I'm using love a lot in this movie for a movie that I gave a 6.5.
Yeah,
mind
a
you.
6.5, but I love it. I love it. I'd watch it again. I love it.
At least I didn't give it a 9.5.
I do love it, though. So I'm rating everything more true to heart than you are. All right. I don't know if it's because I've seen it a million times, but when the star crashes to Earth, I have chills. And I'm pretty sure this happens every time I watch it. It could have been because it was a whopping 6 degrees outside, but star crash, covered in chills. I love that part. So we've talked about Shakespeare and how much we love him, but in all reality, I need a costume closet like Shakespeare's.
After we see Shakespeare's closet and Tristan's getting a makeover and they're sitting in the chair and Tristan asks Captain Shakespeare why anyone would want to fight to be accepted by people you don't actually want to be like, because he's trying to put on this tough guy persona. And Morgan, what does Yvain say back to Tristan?
Yeah, why would anyone want to do a thing like that?
And that's the thing he's been doing with Victoria all along, the thing I complained about earlier.
I know something had to make you tear up in this movie, Tyler. What was it? For me, it's when Tristan and Yvain are dancing on the ship together and she just starts to radiate and completely glow. And that made this stone cold heart just melt. I melted. I cried.
Okay.
I think I cry every time I watch that part.
It wasn't that got me. And I wasn't expecting to be emotional during this movie.
You're welcome.
And I said, I did. I sent you a text message that said, dang it, Morgan. It was the love speech after Tristan's been turned into the mouse.
Yeah.
Morgan, that speech just got me right in the heart. Another thing I thought that was interesting about that speech is that typically it's the male character that gives the love speech. And it was a very different take to see the female give it. And at the time, we didn't know if Tristan even understood it. In fact, she didn't think he did. But we come to find out later, oh, he heard the whole thing.
He just wanted some cheese.
Before this, there's a quote that I love, and I say it to people all the time. Captain Shakespeare says, "A reputation takes a lifetime to build, but only seconds to destroy. You have to think about things before you act." It's what I try to get people to say. So before you react harshly to some phone call or email that you just got, remember, because that impression that you give, it sends a huge message. Just please think before you act, everybody. Okay, Morgan, we've gotten to the end of this movie, and they've got
All the adventure.
all the adventures happened. They've got the star. You know, she's strapped down. They're getting ready to cut out her heart. These witches have finally getting what they wanted. Blah blah blah. So then Tristan and Septimus burst into the castle, and then they just stop the ceremony. And then the other two witches go and attack Septimus. I was confused at why the third witch didn't just continue to the ceremony and cut the star's heart out so we could have been done with this movie?
I think it's because when Tristan walks in, she sees how Yvain lights up, literally. Not just figuratively. Literally, she lights up. And later on, Lamia says thank you because when her heart was broken, I don't know, she just didn't have as much power or what it was, but with her heart mended, she was of better use to the witches in that state than she was as a star with a broken heart. So I think that she stopped because when she saw Yvain light up, she knew exactly what she needed to do to have a star with a mended heart.
Okay, fair enough.
Of the witches, my favorite death was when Tristan releases the animals who throughout the entire movie the witches are using to predict outcomes and lead them to the star. So it's such poetic justice when Tristan releases the animals and they completely demolish the witch. And I loved that because animals are better than people most of the time.
Sticking on the subject of death, I thought the death by Shining of the Star was so cheesy. Defend it. Come at me.
Everyone loves cheese. It was. I'm not gonna argue with it. It's cheesy, but it's beautiful because you shine the brightest when you are with your true love, and she is able to exhibit that.
The wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding.
So I love the way this movie ends. I know you think everything's cheesy, which I don't understand why you think it's cheesy, but I love how it ends because I feel like it's a very perfect fairy tale ending without being the typical ending where they talk about how because Tristan has the heart of the star, they can basically live forever because he metaphorically has the heart of the star. And so then once they decide their time is done, they go into the heavens. And it's beautiful without being your typical Notebook ending where they die in each other's arms. I know your favorite part of the ending is completely different than my favorite part of the ending.
Yes. Oh, my favorite. Oh, Victoria is invited to Tristan's and Yvain's wedding, and she is so mad. Love it. Love it. Oh, and then we get this little wink between Captain Shakespeare and Humphreys, like they know each other.
Or they want to know each other.
You know, I was thinking about this scene on the ship, and they have this time on the ship, and I was thinking about this scene on the ship, and they have this spare time where Tristan's learning how to fence, and they're learning how to dance, and that got me thinking, like, if I had a week uninterrupted to try to master some skill or learn something new, what would I do? Morgan, what would you do? And then I'll answer.
I feel like I have this opportunity in my life right now, and I'm kind of squandering it. But learning is something that I'm very passionate about and I enjoy doing. But as much as there are different hobbies that I would want to learn, like fencing or to play piano or guitar or sing or do a podcast, I feel like I would have to make myself learn to do something that's going to be conducive to my actual life. I don't feel like I could just, if I had that opportunity, I don't think I could squander it on something that I couldn't actually use in everyday life. So it would probably be something to do with my profession.
Okay, well, let me give a less practical answer.
I took all the fun out of it.
I should have gone first. Morgan, I'm going to do this. When, I don't know. But I'm going to learn to dance. Don't know what kind yet. I don't have any vision yet. Maybe some choreography of some sort. But every time I watch a musical, I'm inspired. And I'm going to do it at some point.
This could be a segue for a future Distractaholics couple episodes. I mean, we deep dive into learning how to dance. Take some dance classes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, if anyone has recommendations on things that you would like us to distract ourselves with, let us know. We are up to doing more than just reviewing movies or music or books. If you have recommendations, hit us up on our social media. Send us an email.
Arts and crafts, anyone? Fun, crafty projects?
See, this is going to be where it gets tricky because Tyler's a little more creative than I am.
Thank you.
You're more artsy than I am.
And that's our show, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Stardust adventure.
Because it's more than just a love story, Tyler. It's an adventure.
6.5.
6.5, everyone. Our next episode, we will be covering
Shutter Island.
We hope that you, our listeners, have been having as much fun as we are, and that you continue to tune in as we grow and improve and continue to attempt to become Distractaholics. Tune in next time. Thanks, guys.